If you accidentally fall into will it become Neptune? Is Neptune really the sea? The sea? I'm sorry, not a drop. But there is something worth 10,000 times more than the sea, and that is diamond. It's raining diamonds. There are diamond mountains floating in the sea. You can grab a handful at random, which is enough for you to lie down for 10 lifetimes. Don't worry, I haven't said the wind there is 2,400 kilometers per hour. What concept is 8 times the size of the most powerful typhoon? As soon as you enter, the person is gone, not falling. No, it was blown away by the wind, so this place. Diamonds are real, and dead are real. You can't pick up a single one. But you will become a diamond. A part of the rain will stay there forever. This is probably the most luxurious way to die in the universe, and the real explosion is still in the back of this planet. In 1846, a French mathematician shut himself up in his room with a pen and some paper. Get it out of the equation. What is this operation? Don't worry, the story has just begun. This was a mathematician called Leverrier, and he was looking at the motions of the planets in our solar system. It turns out that something is wrong with Uranus. His orbit is always going wrong. Not following Newton's formula, a normal person might think. Lowe doesn't think so either. He thinks there must be a planet hidden outside Uranus that is his attractive force. So he started calculating. No computer, no telescope, just a pen. After calculating the coordinates of this invisible planet, he sent the coordinates to a friend at the Berlin Observatory. It says, keep your telescope at this point, and you'll find a new planet. But I did. The telescope turned around and focused on that position. An hour later, Neptune was discovered. You heard right, in human history, the only planet predicted by mathematics. Leverrier had never seen Neptune in his life. But he knows where he is better than anyone. It's like you've never been to a city, but you can tell people precisely. What street is that in the city? Which building has a cafe? God is not a god, but it has been found that human understanding of Neptune is almost equal to 0. Why? Because it's so far away. Neptune is 4.5 billion kilometers from the sun. What concept is 30 times the distance from the Earth to the sun, and you're in the fastest ship available? Your youth is gone. And the sun, there is only 1,000th of the brightness of the Earth. And there you are. Looking up at the sun is almost like looking at a slightly brighter star. So there's no way for a ground-based telescope to take a picture of it. It's just a blurry blue dot. But the problem is that only one spacecraft in human history has been to Neptune. And not specifically, but on the way. This ship is called Voyager to 1977. NASA launched Voyager 2. What is his mission? Take advantage of the once-in-175-year planetary alignment to bring wood in one breath. What does it mean to meet once in 175 years that these 4 planets just align? The spacecraft can use the attractive force of the previous planet to slingshot to the next one. Miss this opportunity. The next one is 175 years from now, so it's a cosmic hitchhiker ticket. Of course NASA can't put 1989. Voyager 2 finally reached Neptune, and the closest he got to Neptune was 5,000 kilometers. What is the distance between Beijing and Singapore? So he put it against the face of Neptune, and he flew over and he tried to take a picture, and then, first of all, the blue is not because there's sea, it's because there's methane in the atmosphere. Methane absorbs red light and reflects blue light, so the whole planet looks as blue as a giant sapphire. Secondly, the weather there. Beyond human imagination, Voyager 2 discovered a massive storm called the Great Dark Spot. It's about the size of the Earth, and it's spinning around in the atmosphere of Neptune. Winds up to 2,400 kilometers per hour. Do you know what that means? This is the fastest wind speed ever recorded in the solar system. A NASA analyst was just dumbfounded. He says the weather on Neptune is changing ridiculously fast. The scene is unprecedented to humans, but what was even more incredible was that it was only a few years later that Hubble would look at Neptune. The big dark spot disappeared out of thin air, and then there were other storms. But it also comes and goes. What does that mean? Neptune's atmosphere is not a decoration. It doesn't stop for a moment. You think the typhoon on Earth is scary, it's really dwarfed by him. So the question is, Neptune is so far away from the sun. Where does that deadly cold energy come from? Why is the weather so violent? The answer may lie within him. It radiates more heat from the inside out than it receives from the sun. In other words, he's heating himself. Where's the heat coming from? It's possible that the primordial heat left over from planet formation has been dissipating. That's equivalent to a scalding hot pot of soup that's been hot for billions of years. And that internal heat is what powers those crazy storms. But even more outrageous is the internal pressure there. Neptune's core is so pressurized that it can crush methane molecules directly, then reassemble into a diamond, which is not a fantasy novels or serious scientific theories. There may be a liquid state inside Neptune, an ocean of carbon with icebergs of solid diamonds floating on the surface. Are you saying it's worth anything? The diamonds on this planet are enough to power the Earth's economy. Smash and collapse 800 times, but don't be too happy. The pressure there is 7 million times the pressure of the Earth's atmosphere. You haven't arrived yet. It's been compressed into a piece of paper after talking about Neptune itself. Let's pull the camera out to see its satellite. Neptune has 14. I know about satellites, but one of them is particularly interesting. It's called Triton. How special is Triton? Let's just say he's the only one of the big moons in the solar system that rotates backwards. What do you mean? Turning left, he turned right, and the two of them were facing each other. What does this mean? It means Triton. It's not Neptune's own at all. He was kidnapped by Neptune halfway. Scientists speculate that the sea was originally a dwarf planet in the Kuiper belt that was a neighbor to Pluto. Somehow it was captured by the attractive forces of Neptune, and it's been orbiting Neptune ever since. You can think of it as a brother of Pluto abducted by Neptune, and Triton might be a little bigger than Pluto, so some say the real Kuiper. The king of substitutes is actually Triton, except that he's now locked up in Neptune's orbiting prison on Triton. There is another very strange feature. It's too young. It's not like it's too late, but its surface has few craters in the solar system. Well, because it has active cryogenic volcanoes. Yes, volcanoes, but not the kind that spews magma, but the sea displacement that spews ice. There may be an ocean of liquid water underground. This water will gush out like lava and spray to the surface. It froze rapidly, and over again, it covered the old crater. So the only surface of the sea. Forever new Voyager to also photograph the only fountain 8 kilometers above the sea. It's not water, it's nitrogen and dust. They get sprayed up, they get blown up by the wind, and these long lines come down to the surface. As you can see in those pictures, it's the sediment after the eruption. One has an active volcano, an underground ocean, and an atmosphere. Satellites whose surface is still being updated. This is an anomaly in the solar system, and scientists now suspect the sea, the only subsurface ocean, may contain organic conditions under which life could have been born. Of course, this is just speculation, but this alone is the only one in the sea worth a special trip by humans. If Neptune and the sea are so interesting, why not send a spaceship there? And the simple answer is, it's too far, it's too expensive, it's too difficult, and Voyager got there because it caught up. The planetary alignment that occurs once in 175 years. Now that window is closed early. If you want to go again, you have to be honest. 13 years, and when it arrives, you can't stop and take your time. It can only take one leap like Voyager 2 and go now. NASA doesn't have any firm plans to explore Neptune, but China has proposed a plan. It could launch as early as 2033, but it hasn't been finalized either. 4.5 billion kilometers away, there is a blue planet raining diamonds. There is a moon that may harbor life, but humans only. Been there once, 30 years ago. He was there in that cold, distant, mysterious place waiting for us to take another look. And all we can do is keep looking. After all, the universe is so big that there has to be a place to keep humans curious. 7 fairies lost one. Yes, you heard that right. That is, there is one less star representing the 7 fairies in this group. You count 1, 2, 3, is there only 6? It's such a big deal. Why don't we know? But our ancestors may well know that they left behind a story that there was a man named Dong on Earth. Yong's boy abducted the smallest of the 7 fairies. You have to distinguish it clearly here. It's not a cowherd, although the cowherd is also very powerful. But they're talking about the Weaver girl, and those are two different things. Because here's another one that's more detailed for you. It's a terrible thing to think about because the Greeks also said that there are 7 sisters in heaven. One of them fell in love with mortals and went into hiding. The Aborigines also said, disappeared in 3 places, 3 civilizations separated by sea and desert. But they tell the same story. What's even weirder is that scientists have recently proven that the story may be 100,000 years old. The word tower is 50 times older than the invention of writing by 90,000 years. What is the origin of this star? He has a scientific name called the Mausoleum Cluster, a name you may not have heard of. The logo of the Subaru car is the 6 stars, and the Japanese pronunciation of Subaru is Mao. Then why are there only 6 car logos? Because designers also know that the naked eye can only see 6. The problem is that this star cluster is called the 7 Sisters all over the world. The Great 7 Sisters Japan. People call it Mao, which represents the 7 stars, and the Chinese call it the 7 fairies more directly. But everyone can only see 6. Now, where did the 7th one go? Let's see what stories are told around the world. In Greek mythology, the 7 sisters were the daughters of Atlas. One day Orion, the hunter Orion, fell in love with their mad pursuit of the universe. He turned the 7 sisters into stars to protect them. The stars are hanging in the sky, but one of them is called Fallout. She fell in love with a mortal and hid because she felt ashamed. So humans can only see 6. The Aboriginal version of Australia is tougher. Say Orion is a group of hunters chasing girls, and the 7 sisters are desperately trying to escape. But one of them was taken away and has since disappeared. It's still Chinese. The ending of the story is the same. One of the 7 sisters, because of the connection with mortals, these 3 civilizations disappeared every tens of thousands of kilometers. There is no communication at all in history. Why do they tell the same story?